The 2023 season didn't start the way Ferrari wanted it to, with the team only being able to take 3 podium finishes from the season's first half. Leaving aside Red Bull's dominance, Ferrari has been outpaced by Mercedes Aston Martin and now McLaren. This is not where the Tifosi wants its home team to be, and news has leaked from Ferrari regarding some massive upgrades the team has in line, which could not just propel the SF23 up the grid, but also would make the 2024 car a championship contender. Want to know what's going on back at Ferrari? Then stick around to find out. Ferrari's intentions when the 2023 season started was very clear. The team wanted to provide both Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz with a machine which could fight for regular race wins and a championship this year. But the team has failed on that objective, as the team has taken a big step backwards from 2022, and there are too many problems within the 2023 car, which the team is trying to fix. It's been openly discussed that one of Ferrari's problems is how peaky the SF23 is as soon the car is kicked out of its optimal operating window. Despite the team introducing major upgrades with the intent of solving this issue as early as in Australia and again at Spain, and with the team claiming to have made massive improvements, it's the reaction of the fans and the results the team turns out from every race weekend that proves where Ferrari really are, and if they really have handle on its car. How else can anyone explain the drivers' complaints regarding the car's inconsistent performances, from being second fastest at Austria and barely scoring points at Silverstone, and again returning as the second fastest car on the grid at Belgium? One reason for Ferrari looking so good at one weekend and not so good on the other can be put down to how competitive the grid behind Red Bull is. But that is no excuse for Ferrari. Despite having the second fastest car on average, it is sitting 4th on the constructors' tally. So to improve the team's fortunes for the second half of the 2023 season, and also to pave the proper development direction for 2024, Ferrari is said to be introducing huge upgrades for the SF23. This news has come from none other than the Italian team's team principal, Frederic Vasseur. "We have a development plan which tells us that our car will be 0.2 faster in September, another 2 in October, another 4 in 2024. We have our work plan and we cannot waste time synchronizing with that of the others, which between the other we do not know. 0.2 in September and another 0.2 in October could very well transpire into some big upgrade packages, so the development race in 2023 seems to be not yet done from some teams' perspective." But this quote from Vasseur becomes more interesting, as he labeled that the total count of 0.8 of a second of lap time improvement will be cemented in the team's 2024 car, meaning that the 2024 Ferrari car will be 0.8 faster than the current SF23. There have been leaks on how the team is actually going to achieve this, and that plan is sort of crazy. According to many reports, engineers back at the Italian factory have been studying the RB19 thoroughly, both its mechanics and aerodynamics, and the team has tried to adopt that aerodynamic philosophy into the Ferrari car. And in fairness, there were rumors like 2 to 3 months before, suggesting that Ferrari were studying hard, trying to understand Red Bull's DRS advantage, and they have been able to replicate a near to similar effect on the Ferrari car. It was evident on many races, but especially at the Belgian Grand Prix, where Ferrari had the best DRS efficiency, only second to the Red Bull car. So maybe they actually do understand more about the Red Bull RB19 than the rest of the grid does. And Ferrari's crazy plan on paper is to take the RB19 and improve the car, which is essentially going to be next year's Ferrari. This idea, if it is true, is slightly optimistic that next year's Ferrari is going to an upgraded Red Bull. Not only that, Ferrari has been studying the differences between the power units of 2 teams, as Ferrari has noted certain issues or efficiency issues within the Ferrari power unit, mostly on the electrical side. First of all, Ferrari admitting that a deficit exists is surprising, because Ferrari had the strongest power unit last season, and even before the start of the 2023 season, there were talks about Ferrari making a 30 horsepower gain with reliability fixes. But now, Ferrari are talking about the Italian power unit being weaker than the Honda, at least on the electrical side. The issue seems to lying on the battery deployment section, where we know that Honda has the best out of all currently, and that better deployment is one of the reasons for the Honda-powered Red Bull to be so fast on the straights. So maybe there is something here for Ferrari to think about, and they are confident that this deficit can be eliminated by next season, with the understanding they have on the Red Bull car. So the overall Ferrari plan is to study the Red Bull car and upgrade the RB19 and make it next year's Ferrari. But is this just Ferrari Ferrari saying Ferrari things? That comes to our minds because they do this a lot. Recent example would be Ferrari CEO quoting the SF23 to be the fastest car on grid, but it's not. And the team says that they will be able to gain nearly half a second worth of performance before the end of the current campaign. But is this race pace solid? Because the current Formula One qualifying grid is very close, and the race pace is what's deciding the final result. While Ferrari has had a good qualifying car this season, it's the race where the SF23 starts to fall apart, with inconsistencies and tire degradation affecting their overall race pace. Yes, Ferrari could increase the car's downforce and go quicker over one lap, but is it going to improve the car's race performance? Certainly not, unless the team figures out a solution to improve tire performance over a race stint. And if this is Ferrari's plan, does the 0.8 performance gain match with this plan? Well, if we look at the average gap between Ferrari and Red Bull this season, it has been close to half a second, nearly about 5 to 6 tenths on average. On smaller laps, the deficit is smaller, while on longer tracks like Spa, the deficit seems to be bigger, but on average, the gap is about 5 to 6 tenths per lap. And give or take, if Ferrari is able to make that improvement of 4 tenths this season by October, the SF23 will be very close to the Red Bull car. And another half a second gain potentially put Ferrari close, but will it be enough to beat Red Bull? I don't think so. And let me tell you why. Red Bull started this season with a half a second advantage. At Spa, that gap now has gone up to 8 tenths of a second. Will it be 8 tenths every race? It looks like it will be over Ferrari. So the team making up 8 tenths of lap time for the team's 2024 car will only put next year's Ferrari on par with the RB19. Next year's RB20 will be significantly better than the RB19. So theoretically, what Ferrari are banking on won't be enough. Also, to remind you guys again, Ferrari has to solve its tire degradation issues to achieve a consistent performance gain of about 0.8 tenths of a second per lap. But there still is hope, as surely Red Bull are reaching the development ceiling of its concept. That's what we thought before, but the team brings an upgrade to Hungary, and here they are, winning races with a 30-second margin, while they are not even pushing the car that hard. So I personally am not convinced with Ferrari catching Red Bull with an 0.8 tenths performance improvement. I think Red Bull are again going to be putting a big gap between themselves and the rest of the grid next season as well. But what do you guys think? Do you think Ferrari can be on par with Red Bull with this 0.8 tenths of lap time gain? Very much into your thoughts and perspectives in the comments section down below. And on your way down, don't forget to subscribe to the channel to get notified of our future uploads, to keep yourselves up to date about the 2023 Formula One season.